Ali here at MindWaveMeditation.com, and today we're going to talk about anxiety. Nobody wants anxiety, it's rubbish. I had it for about 10 years, sprinkle of daily panic attacks, sprinkles of depression, sprinkles of lack of self-worth and lack of confidence, and loads of other stuff. Absolute nightmare to go through, a literal nightmare. And so the reason why I'm creating this video is I went through loads of stuff and I got through all of it. And I got through all of it by dissolving it all. And so I figured out how to do that, and I carried on doing all that stuff. My life completely transformed, no anxiety. Oh, been pointed out about these finger things and now I've got a complex. So I'm going to do it anyway out of spite. No anxiety, no depression, no panic attacks, very minimal stress, overwhelm now and again but in small pockets, just stuff like that. And it became so amazing to me that I could live a life free from all that. When I was going through it, it was hell. It was a hell state, a daily hell state that led to alcoholism and other stuff. We'll talk about that later. My point is, this video is about anxiety, and if you suffer from anxiety or panic attacks, yeah, we'll start there. Then keep watching this video. I am gonna say it's short, I don't know. I'm gonna try and make it short and maybe make a series of it. But keep watching and I'll teach you how to dissolve your anxiety and live a happier, healthier, more enjoyable existence. So here we go. I might be a bit more upbeat on this one. Keep your sensations tantalized. Whoa, that might have been too much. I don't even know if that makes sense. So why am I so giddy? I don't know. Maybe because anxiety was the biggest pain in the ass I've ever experienced in my entire life, and the fact that I'm free from it now, I guess when I talk about it, it just fires me up, because when I was going through all that stuff, it was so horrific that, well, I thought I was going to die every day. Look, I'm just going to be honest, there's no point beating around the bush here. Every day I thought my brain was going to pop. And because nobody talked about anxiety, the internet, YouTube wasn't really, I don't think it was really a thing that much then. No, it certainly wasn't. So just people didn't talk about it, and especially where I'm from, up north in England, anxiety was not something that we just, passed around. It was just like, oh, shut up, what are you talking about? Oh, you'll get over it, just don't think about it, Say that to someone with anxiety and they just want to, Anyway, it was really tough. And I don't mean to joke about it, but I guess it's a coping mechanism of some sense. So look, if you've got anxiety, here's the deal. It could be happening. There's lots of different factors here, so I don't want to just blanket statements say this is how you do it, but this is how I did it. And if you can resonate with any of this, then awesome. So apply anything that I'm saying that feels good to you and makes sense. And just see how it goes and keep me posted in the old comments down below. So what I did was basically, my mind just, it was over. I was spiraling out of control. I was boozing it up pretty hard and smoking a hell of a lot of weed, and I didn't know what day it was. My teeth were crumbling. My friends were joking with me because we were on tour and I didn't know which venue we were going to. Speech was stopping mid-sentences, my eyes would wander off when people were talking. It was all just a downward spiral to doom, and I wasn't going anywhere pretty. So we were going on tour, and my manager at the time, bless her, said, we need to sort you out because you're not going to last over there, are you? And I said, no, I don't think so. Because I couldn't leave the house without being obliterated because it was just too much. And what I learned looking back was I was kind of suffering a sensory overload. I was kind of fine when it was calm. If I was in nature, I'd probably be all right. I never was in nature at that point. But it was when I was walking into town and there was lots of things, lights and people and conversations and noises. It was just a sensory overload. And back then I didn't know what was going on. I just assumed that life was going to shit. No, it didn't work when you do it like that. I thought life was going to shit, and so I was just drinking through it, just on a self-destructive, let's just go out in a blaze of glory. That was my mentality. A terrible mentality looking back now, but it's just what happened. But it led me to this, so it was all for the greater good of my journey. So anyway, I told you that story to tell you this story. I went to see a homeopath, and she gave me what I call placebo pills at that point, sugar and water, and told me that everything was going to be all right. And long story short, everything started to change after that moment, and she was right. Everything did turn out all right. So homeopathy is a whole magical thing that you can look into, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know about it. But it worked for me, and it led me on this path to that one meeting I had with this one lady for an hour completely changed everything, because I spoke about what I was experiencing. And until that moment, I'd spoken about it with my friends and my girlfriend. I'd, be in a bar and I just burst out into tears, like, I can't do this anymore. Look. It was awful. But speaking to her, who gave me a solution and said, when you do this and you follow this, things will start to... She said all this stuff. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it because, again, I don't know. But it changed my world so dramatically that instantly my panic attacks stopped appearing, to the point where I think it was a few weeks of taking these little placebo pills that I suddenly started to go, I'm not panicking. I'm going into town and I'm not panicking. And then I'd freak out because I didn't want to start talking about panicking. Having a panic attack is like being attacked by panic itself. I think that's what they say. It's it's the worst. And when that all disappeared, I was free. I was absolutely free. And I didn't think I ever would be free. I thought I was going to have to live with it, or I was going to go out, like I said, in a blaze of glory. And it was so profound. It was so unbelievable. It was so much relief, so much joy in that moment, in those moments of realizing that I didn't have to suffer anymore. I think what happened is I just started devoting my life and journey to figuring out more of these kind of practices, techniques that helped people dissolve anxiety, stress, being overwhelmed, depression. It only seemed right, if you discover it and you feel it, then it kind of only seems right that you should tell other people about it, because when there's people going through these horrendous things in life and they don't understand it, and if you've got any answers that you can give them, or send them my way, then that's kind of our duty, or send them to anyone you think that might be helpful for them. That's kind of our duty as a human being, in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy in a bush. So look, this is what happened to me. Everything started to dissolve. I kind of went, oh my God. So I think I honored that feeling so much, and I never wanted to go back to this downward spiral. I jumped into everything. I literally was like, okay, I've been reading about meditation for years and practicing and doing all these different things, but I was a dabbler. I was just a dabbler. You're either a dabbler or you're a doer. Are you a dabbler or are you a doer? Huh? Yeah, I know you're a doer because you're watching this and you're eager to try it yourself. So look, I jumped into all this stuff and I went fully to this end of the spectrum, and this end of the spectrum is like halfway. This, what I'm showing you anyway, is halfway. There's the people that I do that, I call them the squeegee the third eye people, who are, you know, living the path, and I love those people, and that's a whole other plane of existence. But you don't have to go that far, is what I'm saying. And what I am saying, tell me what you're talking about, give us the stuff, is when you dive into it, the first level of overcoming anxiety is understanding why it's happening. So you might be thinking it's just happening. It's not just happening. Anxiety is happening either a chemical imbalance, so then, you know, you might need to go and see your local GP and go down that route if you want, or you start looking at everything in your life. I love those sound effects that emphasize the point. Look at everything in your life and look at what you are putting in the face, in the mouth, in the eyes, what you're listening to, what you're thinking about, what is going in to your whole being, and break it down. And I didn't consciously get a pen and paper and figure this out. I'm looking back now and seeing what happened, so I'm putting it together really simply for you, so you don't have to experience the years of torment that I did. And if you are experiencing all that, then do this right away. Get a pen and paper and think about the main things that you're thinking about, the programs you're watching, the foods you're having, the drinks you're drinking, everything that's going in. And then when you've got that list, or you can do this in your head, look at how many of those things are healthy for you, how many of those things are destructive for you. So I'm just going to break it down. What I was doing was drugs, smoking a ton of weed, drinking alcohol daily. I was only drinking alcohol daily, by the way, because of these effects. So that's why I fell into that spiral. However, those were the facts. I was eating all sorts of food, eating a lot of red meat, specifically just going through a big red meat phase at the time. And yeah, all sorts of different poisons, toxins and stuff. So I made a conscious decision to reduce all of those things. Not saying you should stop doing everything you're doing. However, if you're panicking and freaking out and having a bad experience of life, I'd start there, because that's what I did and it massively worked for me. Booze, drugs, bad food, all of that stuff, I deleted, eliminated, or massively reduced from my life. And lo and behold, the anxiety and panic attack went away. And look, it is as simple as that. It's obviously not simple to do all that, but it's as simple as that. And that's where I want to start with this anxiety series. I've just decided that this is what this is. There's no need to have anxiety. There's no need to experience it. It might have been passed down to you through your environment, of how your family or your surroundings were, so you naturally were, you know, getting a lot of stimulation. You might have that in your blood. You might have been raised on sugar. That doesn't help. You know, you might have gone down all the paths that you went down. You might be addicted to this, that, and the other. You might not be addicted to anything, and so you're like, well, what about me? I'm not addicted to stuff. I don't drink and all that stuff. I've got loads of anxiety. What's my deal? I don't know. But are you trying things like daily qigong, or daily Tai Chi. Look into that Qigong, Qigong, Qigong. I'll put a link down there. Tai Chi, breathing deeply and slowly on a consistent daily basis. Link below. MindWave Earth. Are you working and breathing as you go and watching your thoughts go into the future and the past? If you are living in the past, you are depressed. No, if you are depressed, you're living in the past. If you are anxious, you're living in the future. If you are at peace, you're living in the present. Watch where your mind is. This back and forth of past and future, this literal woo, woo, is causing anxiety. That's one area of anxiety. Drinking lots of sugar could easily be adding to your anxiety. Not having a vision could be massively, could be a massive part of it. Link below to the new Dare to Discover coaching series. That is going to help you create a vision which will help you get out of bed in the morning and go, I know where I'm going in life, so therefore I don't want to be doing that. I've got to stay focused and do that. Focus. Down below, link below. Listen to this audio when you work. It keeps your mind focused away from the past and the future on one thing, whatever your vision is. All these links, all these things are helping you move forward and discover a better version of you, so you naturally stop doing the poisonous, toxic stuff less and less and less. My whole get up is not follow me, do this, do what I say. I'm not telling you what to do. I guess I am telling you what to do, if you're listening. But all I'm really saying is just do more bits of good in your life that are towards a positive story rather than adding more bad. That's the most simplistic way I can say it. Do more good and less bad. And naturally, you get this tipping point, and anxiety will naturally start to reduce. If you don't have a meditation practice, link below, I'll teach you to meditate, or meditate in your local area, or look online and find someone that really resonates with you and go, that's who I want to meditate with, and book it in. You've got one life, and if you're suffering anxiety, it's massively to do with what you are consuming, what you're putting in the system. Now, as a disclaimer, that's not always the case. Everything I've said is massively going to help. It's just a fact. It is going to help if you do all those things. Walk in nature, meditation, yoga, eating clean, healthy, alkaline foods, especially drinking juices, smoothies, having a vision, staying focused, not getting distracted, having a passion and a purpose. Might have already said that, but that's the point. Having something to pull you forward rather than something to push you down, more things to suppress. So I guess step number one is speak up, speak out, talk to a friend, talk to anyone, comment down here. I will personally reply. I reply to every single message, and also other people might reply too. Reach out, call someone, speak to anybody. If they don't get it, they don't understand, speak to the next person. Keep reaching out until somebody listens to you and says, I understand. So I understand. That's one person that understands. Reach out. Number one. Number two, look at all the things in your life that you are doing, that you're responsible for. All the things you're putting in, the thinking, all the stuff we've said. Look at it objectively, consciously, and see where you can make a change. See where you can reduce, and do this very carefully. If you're well into an addiction, Don't do what I did and go cold turkey and move to another country and then start hallucinating on the other side of the world. And we'll get into that in another episode of Guy in the Bush. So carefully approach your transition out of this. I went to see a homeopath, I went to see a naturopath, and that was just the start of my journey. Then I just carried on just practicing all this stuff, and naturally did all this stuff myself. So that's number 2. Sorry, I just went off on one. Number 3, be grateful that you're alive today, that you're listening to this content, that you're about to apply all this stuff to yourself, and you get another chance at living, because all this stuff that I was saying, all the panic, all the horrors that you may be experiencing, the hell states of living, can be dissolved if you, sorry for pointing, if you apply all this stuff and just dive into the mission of getting the job done and living a life of freedom again, because it's possible. And if you've tried and you've tried again and you can't do it, then give me a shout, or give anyone else a shout that, you know, tickles your fancy. So I'm sorry for smiling and making this a joke. I hope this hasn't offended anybody. If it has, I genuinely apologize. That is not my intention. My intention is purely health, happiness, freedom from the suffering of life, and learning to embrace a life of peace, gratitude, love, harmony, and all those other nice words that sound like, but really are the most powerful things on the planet when you really, really sieve the world down into a sieve of love. So it's my 22-minute ramble. It was meant to be short and sweet. I imagine there'll be more. I'm going to have a little look at this and define this process and make some actual practical steps for you in the coming videos, if that's how you say it. So much love. Click like, all that stuff. I'll see you on the next one. Don't be late. Bye.